Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to downtown Mahwah, New Jersey from the Average Dining Room Studios. This is the Jimmy Palumbo Show. This is show number 161. Brad Benson. Stephen, did he just drove off the road there? 60 Babe Ruth.
You remember those terrible commercials?
Yes, I do. I think he got in trouble for him too. Like, I'll give you a car. I'll give you a car for $1. Or so, I don't know, whatever he did. Show number 160 here, of course. Babe Ruth hit 60 in 27. This is show number 160 of the Jimmy Palumbo Show. I'm just going to keep on saying show number 160 of the Jimmy Palumbo Show. And of course, behind the glass, miles away from downtown Matawan, almost said Manalapan again, downtown Matawan, from the center of the universe in media capital of the world, Dave Sturcio, coming via his iPhone, AirPods, tin can, coffee cup. He showed up. There was no stadium, no bats, no balls. He's like, he's up there with a golf club trying desperately to hit a fastball. Because as I was told, he was away for a few days, and Chop Sports, when Dave's not there, well, the Chop Sports Studios looks like, somebody's Atari back in 89. Dave, welcome to show number 160 of the Jimmy Palumbo Show. And how are you, Dave?
Listen, before all this nonsense, I was good, man. I had a great weekend. I was in Philadelphia, WrestleMania. It was a lot of fun, man. And, something must have happened with one of the power cords from one of my cameras, so it kind of threw me for a loop. So I can't even use my mic. I can't use my camera. It's just like a mess. But here we are. Rain or shine. Rain or shine. We are back in the building.
Like a young mailman through rain, sleet, snow, or horrific other people using the studio. I refuse to throw Chris Gucci under the bus, although he clearly is underneath the bus working on the transmission.
No, we do have a couple helpers that do come in here, so I'm thinking maybe something broke. I know, but
I can't throw a shitty helper under a bus. It's much more fun if I bash Chris Gucci, but we love him anyway when you do see him. So anyway, here we go. Well, as you well know, here at Shea, I do the baseball card thing, and of course, this one is shitty. I almost skipped it because I was like, you know what? It wasn't as funny to me. Right. I was like, what am I doing? This guy is unbelievably popular in every way, shape, or form. I guess there's some uniqueness to it. It's a 93 card. Let's see if you can guess. He played football and baseball.
All right. It's either Dion or Bo.
Okay. Bo knows. Okay. Bo Jackson. Now, so when I grabbed the card, I was like, this is boring. I don't want to do this one. And I said, no, that's not what I do. I grabbed the top card. I go with it. Last week we had Mark Sullivan on, and he played 3 years, got 4 hits. And so I looked at it, and I'm like, you know what? I forget about Bo Jackson. Number one, I think this is for any old people out there. Dave, you may not understand, but maybe you do because you're not that young anymore. This to me is a card that came out last season. Like it's shiny, it's new, it doesn't have the same feel. I look at it, it's 30 years old, this card. I think it's a 93 card. To me, this came out 4 weeks ago, and it's 30 years old. So Bo Jackson, as a baseball player, he's 61 years old today, which makes me crazy. He played 8 years with the Royals, White Sox, and Angels from 86 to 94. He played football from 87 to 90. His batting average, what do you think his batting average was in Major League Baseball?
Lifetime, maybe like 260.
Good guess. 250. He had 141 home runs, 415 RBIs, 82 stolen bases. That's pretty good for a bigger guy. 89, he hit 256, 32 home runs, 105 RBIs, which means he would be making $39 million a year, I believe, if he played today. His last season, he batted 279, 75 games, 13 home runs. But in the 93 playoffs, I did not know this. Maybe you do. He was 0 for 13 with 3 walks in the playoffs, which, hey, Bo, we judge you by how you do in big games. Right. Another thing, they always show highlights of him making all these great plays in the outfield, but he had 44 errors in the outfield. So I'm guessing that we only see, in other words, That seems a lot to me, don't you think? 44 errors.
One of those perception is reality things. Like if
yeah,
they
like
show making all these plays, like he had a glove,
Yeah, but how about like that little base hit in the corner that he bobbled in the corner, and look at Stanton will stroll in for the double there. That'll be an error. Yeah. He was an all-star in '89. I did not know this. I you know what? My family's going to kill me. The Yankees drafted him in 1982. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I did not know that. In the second round, and he said no. And then the Angels drafted him in '85. He said no. And then he got drafted baseball by the Royals in '86.
You could just do that, though? You could just say no in baseball?
Like, yeah, it happens a lot of times. You stay in college or you don't have to accept the offer. Now, what happened, though, I did not know any of this. He went to go visit Tampa Bay because they sucked and they were gonna make him the first pick. And he loved playing baseball for Auburn. And he went to visit Tampa Bay, and there was some kind of NCAA violation if you visit a thing and it's paid for by an aide, some kind of BS. And Bo Jackson the reason why he didn't sign with Tampa Bay, because they drafted him first, he told them, I will not play for you. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay, Bo. It
was like Eli with San Diego.
No, even worse than that. They offered him $7 million. And he's like, I told you, I'm not playing for you because you screwed over my senior year in baseball at Auburn. He wanted to play.
Oh, wow.
And he ended up signing with the Royals signed him for only $1 million. So he took a $6 million hit right off the bat. But of course, that led to Bo Knows and Nike and millions there. He also has a record NFL most runs, 90 plus yards, 2, which is pretty good. In '89, the All-Star game. I love finding out. Listen, Bo Jackson's a famous guy, and his whole career, he would have been either in baseball or football had he committed to either one of the greats, I believe. But he got a nasty hip injury, not just a hip injury. We're talking like replacement, and he was still a young guy. He's one of those guys, if he didn't get hurt, he would have been, I think, a lot of home runs or a lot of runs from scrimmage. But he hit back-to-back home runs with Wade Boggs in the '89 All-Star game, which I didn't realize that. But the cool thing was the reason why he said he wasn't going to play football, but Al Davis of the Raiders, he said, listen, when the baseball season's over, he show up now, think about this asshole move by Al Davis. He has Marcus Allen, who I think came off like MVP season the year before. And he's like, hey, Marcus, so good to see you. Hey, listen, by the way, I'm going to tell Bo Jackson he can show up week 8. Imagine doing that today. Like, hey, Bo, show up week 8. Don't worry about it. And so he showed up week 8. And he started playing a lot. Next thing you know, like, he was listed as a fullback to Marcus Allen, but he immediately just started playing over Marcus Allen, which I didn't know any of that. But he got hurt in 1991 in a playoff game on a meaningless hit. All of a sudden, he hit something, and that was it. His hip can never really play. The Raiders released him. They didn't want to pay for his injuries and all this crap, so it ended kind of weird. But he ended up getting a degree, married with 3 kids. There's no negative on Bo. He has all his money. He didn't end up in the poorhouse, living in a tent somewhere like a lot of other players. So I got to give credit to Bo Jackson, and he was awesome to watch at Auburn. And that's it. So usually I don't like to do guys that everybody knows, but there was a couple of tidbits there that I did not know about. Number one, he sucked in the field, but everybody thinks he was great. So
he also got that famous rivalry with Brian Bosworth.
Brian Bosworth, yep. He got one of the 90-yard runs, I think, in that game as well.
He crushed him. And I was a big fan of the Boz, man. You know why?
Yeah,
it's like
I could totally see you.
Yeah, when I was coming up in wrestling, I was trying to figure out like what my character was going to be. And I was talking to my trainer and I was like, I want to be the Boz of pro wrestling. Like, just like fucking streaks in the hair or whatever, that haircut. Like I was going to do all that. I was actually going to get very invested in the character, but somehow destruction was born. And that's the rest is history.
Now you are the Brian Bosworth of shitty pilots made from Beer League as Dave Destruction. If Tom Baldinger is listening to that, he's not going to
wait. I can't wait till the world sees my.
No, listen. We already. I don't know. You haven't. The premiere has been set. We're going to be premiering Beer League in 2036. That's when the pilot will be done. 21 minutes of hilarity. Tom says it'll be done eventually, but due to injuries in our production team, it should be done. Listen. The funny thing is, if we're both out of the business by the time the pilot's done, I get to see you again. We're like, hey, Dave, remember we used to do that podcast? Hey, let's watch this thing. Probably it'll be there'll be 3D and AI playing me as Johnny Trino.
Yeah.
I'm teasing, Tom. If you're listening to this, I'm just busting your balls. But so Brian Bosworth took a beating for Bo. Now, who do you got on your guy?
I also have a very good player, but before he got to the beloved 10-2 New York Yankees, the current Yankees, that is. This card is a 1991 card. He is a right fielder, played for the Cincinnati Reds prior to the trade. Everybody knows who he is. Everybody knows him as the Warrior.
Your friend and mine, Paul O'Neill. Yeah,
the Warrior himself, man. He is and it's funny because I watched an interview last night with Nick Swisher, who I was a big fan of when he was in New York. There's a personality guy, high energy guy. And he said last night that this year's Yankee team, and again, we're 12 games deep, so let's not get crazy, but it's a no excuse, no bullshit taking mentality. And I feel like that starts from Paul O'Neill back in the early 90s because Paul O'Neill, this guy was bashing water coolers and throwing shit and kicking balls and just, he was an absolute animal.
Yes. One thing, Paul O'Neill to me represented, they always use that phrase, he doesn't waste any at-bats. Because I know if I was making $25 million a year and we're up 8-1 on a cold Tuesday night, you know what I mean, in Detroit, and I was already like 2 for 3, you know what I mean, a home run. That fourth at bat, I'd be like talking to you in the dugout. I was going to hack away. I would be out of there in 3 pitches, just like I already had a good game. We're winning. I got beer in the fridge. I got a chick waiting for me at the hotel. Like, let's get out of here. Not Paul O'Neill. He would be like fouling off pitches, pissed off. And I think you need to have one. I've been saying this for years. I say we even had it with our softball team. You need to have one guy who's a little bit of a jerk off on your roster where everybody's really nice. Oh, my mother coming to the game. You need that one guy like shows up by himself. He's angry at the world. He doesn't even know why he's there. You know what I mean? He's like, he doesn't care about the money. He doesn't care about, and he's a little bit like, one guy on the other team pisses him off a little bit. All of a sudden, he's like, why is he so mad? Like, because he just is. And I think teams, I've been saying that for years about Rutgers football. They come out, everybody waving to the ground. Like, I want one guy named, like, just a guy who's like comes out a little late over to the side. He just doesn't want to talk to the cheerleaders. He doesn't want to wave to the crowd. And he got grit. Maybe he gets kicked out of a game and deserves it. Like Jersey coming off, going through the tunnel. The old Knicks used to have that. Always a guy who a hard foul. He knew it. He walked off like before they call the tee. He already's heading to the bench. Like, it's that kind of thing. And I think this team, they don't waste any at bats like Paul O'Neill. Soto. I love when Soto, when the umpire calls a strike, he looks at him like that wasn't a strike, and the umpire doesn't say anything. Maybe you're right. Like, it's unbelievable.
He's really turning out to be quite generational already. People are starting to cater to this guy. But Paul O'Neill was a trailblazer in his own right. Like at that trade that brought him over, changed the mentality and the landscape of the Yankees.
It's very in the same way like a Gary Carter changed the Mets. You can make the argument, although Gary Carter is a Hall of Famer and everything, but Paul O'Neill certainly changed that locker room.
And I love him in the booth. I think.
And you know what? I watched Nick Swisher was it yesterday or the day before? You know what? I actually like him. He's a little excitable, just like he was on the field. But the problem is, here's the problem with anybody doing games for the Yankees. They're 10-2, right? So everybody's riding high. Okay. Mm-hmm. I want to see Nick Swisher and Paul, and the Yankees have dropped 9 out of the last 10, struggling here, 6.5 games out with 19 to play. And then the whole Nick Swisher thing, like, hey, everybody, no, he's got to be like, ooh, we stink. Like, you know what I mean? So I can't wait till he gets in that yet when the Yankees lose, a bunch of runs there. But Paul O'Neill, that's a good card. So Bo Jackson and Paul O'Neill, there you go. Now we're going to get to the Yankees. I got lots to say about the Yankees. But Patreon, Jimmy Palumbo's Patreon. Now, if you go to patreon.com, those of you scoring at home, Patreon.com, and you type in the Jimmy Palumbo Show. And there, you can donate to the show if you like hearing my voice once a week. And Dave Sturt Show from the Mecca of entertainment down in Matawan, New Jersey, where I think Netflix is going to be in his studio before you know it. And go check it out. Donate, because we're stuck at 40. I can't be stuck at 40. We got to get to 41. We got to get to Ben-Hur. That joke is funny for 6 people.
You know what I think about when I hear the channel, the number 41? is Channel 41 being the first Spanish channel that I used.
The Spanish, was it Univision?
Telemundo or some shit? I don't know. I just remember Channel 41 was Spanish.
And how about when you're like having one of those days where you just stare at the TV and you end up on Channel 41 and you watch for a little bit, like it's like 10 seconds, 20 seconds. You're like, oh, look at this. Everybody's speaking Spanish.
Funny. And then like you're running out the door and like, come on, let's go. Like, you know what? I got to find out if Alejandro likes Maria. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Wait a minute. Don't even get me. First of all, talk about a tangent right there. Those Spanish soap operas, not talked about enough. I swear to God, I think sports bars on like Tuesday night should have Spanish sitcom drama night. Instead of watching the game, the women on those shows have deep speed. It looks like, to me,
shows.
It's like wide receiver camp for the NFL. Everybody, and you don't even care what they're saying. And for girls, like the guys are good looking. The girl, like there's no actresses on that. It's like, I would love to be the casting director. Hi, I'm sorry. We need deep speed here. If you don't run a 4.2, don't even think about auditioning for the show.
So wait, I know this is going to sound ridiculous, and we'll get to your credit in a little bit, but like, have you ever even like remotely applied or read for a sitcom, a Spanish soap? Or
no. I
can 1000% see you as like the bartender at like a scene, like
where Spanish.
Like, and your one line is like, gracias. Or something.
I would, you know what? I would kill to do. I would just, if I booked one of those Spanish shows, I'd get there at 4 a.m. I'd be waiting outside. I just want to hang out with everybody. I love those shows. I swear to God, guys, if you, every now and then when you buzz around, look to those, and sometimes and they have that like soap opera music, but it's not like a soap opera. It's like, it looks like it's just. Listen, what happens is
then drama at its finest.
Right. Then your wife walks in and you go, she got stuck on the channel. It's like watching, it's like you're getting caught on Pornhub.com.
Yeah.
It's like, you hear your wife, are you watching that Spanish show again from the stairs? Yeah, I'm in the basement. Hang on, I'll be up in a minute.
Alejandro's back. Like, come on.
Yeah, and everybody, and they all sound like, shortstops for the Expos. Second and third, and here's Alejandro Martinez. Anyway, so
oh my God, did you hear about Alejandro? He's back with Andujar.
It's the best. I love it. I love those shows. I think people do. A matter of fact, my friend Mark DiCarlo's wife, Yenny, was on one of those hit shows in the early 90s. And it was like the #1 show in all over the place. And she was a young little teenager bouncing around on one of those shows, but it was more of a sitcom kind of setup. But yeah. Shout out to Yenny Alvarez, Princess Yenny, and my buddy Mark DiCarlo. She was on one of those. She's a Cuban princess. But we're mired at 40 on my Patreon. I got to give a shout out to Tyson Hogan getting involved here. He caught me on an episode of Sneaky Pete, and the picture on the bus was my dad. And my dad in real life, so that's kind of cool. My dad's a celluloid hero now here, Shea. And a shout out to Neil Goldhaber, who made a comment when I posted about Yankee opening day, and he went to a couple opening days with me. And also Mike Caprio from cornholelevel.com. He just renewed with me for another 3 months, so we got to love that. And the check, I believe, is in the mail, which I believe him. And that's it. So Patreon.com. Go check it out. We got to get to 41 somehow. And of course, there's always Alex Stetzena, who's the #1 Patreon because he was the first one to sign up. All right. Now, Chasing Miracles in the news here. My mother's on the patches. Her hip hurts. Her knee hurts. I played pickleball yesterday. I had the patches all over the place. They work. They're stem cell patches. You get better energy. Your body cures itself a little bit quicker. Non-invasive. You can pee in the cup. Non-transdermal day here at the stadium. Give Tommy and Donna a call at chasingmiracles.com. Check this stuff out. It's pretty cool. A lot of athletes use them. You see it all the time on the Olympics. These little things are easy to put on. They're not that expensive. Blah, blah, blah. You got to check it out. It's worth it. Chasingmiracles.com. They know what they're doing over there. All right. Well, we're a little bit late to the dance here from the Omni, but I figured we have to at least discuss the earthquake last week. Now, I was at home. I went into my room and I was up for a while, and then I went in and put my sweatpants on, and I was putting my socks on, sitting on the bed, and all of a sudden I thought a wind gust hit I'm on the third story condo. And I thought it was a wind gust, but my window is open and there's a tree outside. It's the only tree I think in America that's like ready to bloom. It's like all these, it's like every other tree looks like, my acting career. And this tree's like, blooming. And I was like, it's not windy at all. And all of a sudden I heard like for a split second, like the windows rattle. And I'm like, wow, this is all happening in like seconds. And then I have a laundry room off of my bedroom. And it looked like you were in there playing the drums on an AC/DC song. And I was like, I was like, oh, the wind's even going through the duct system or whatever. And next thing you know, the room really started to, it started to move. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's no big deal. Bullshit. I went through one of them in LA. I went, that's an earthquake. That the whole house, and I'm thinking, I'm on the third. Right away, I'm thinking, well, I'm on the third floor. If this thing drops straight down, I got a puncher's chance to bob and weave and come crawling out of the wreckage here at Shea. And then all of a sudden, it just stopped, and I was like, "What the?" And it's like the whole tri-state area did. I texted my mother, my sister. What was that? I texted you. I think I texted you first because I was like, "Hey, did you feel it?" And I put the news on, and of course the news was covering, some Senate hearing committee thing, and I was like, I was like, did they felt it here? And then of course, the Ramapo fault, like right through my town was the fault line. And I started thinking to myself, after it was all over and everybody was okay, I started thinking, like, everybody talks about the end of the world is going to be some plague. Like, to me, if God's up there in the booth calling you, like if God being the offensive coordinator for mankind, all he's got to do, really, in my opinion, is call like, I'm just going to have like a 20-second 7.5 earthquake in the tri-state area. And I realized, just picture every building that you've ever seen in your life in the tri-state area just falling over to the left. I don't know if
he's got the play sheet in front of him. He's like, hey, what do you want to do? You want to run quakey? Yeah. All right, let's run quakey. Let's do it.
Yeah. I ran, back in 2024, I ran that 4.8. It didn't really work. The guy got knocked out of bounds, but it was open. They got full.
It stopped the clock,
It stopped the clock. So I'm gonna call for a 7.5, and every building that Jimmy Palumbo's ever seen in his life growing up is just gonna fall to the left. It's over. Like Empire State Building. Like, what if every building in New York? Just think about, like, if every building in New York just like fell over to the right. Like, that'll do it here from the final score. I mean, like millions of people will die. And then there's no water lines breaking. I started thinking, like, that's the way they were. Just a quick earthquake, and that, especially God's watching the news. God probably watches Fox and CNN, goes back and forth. And all of a sudden he's like, you know what? They're starting to piss me off over there. There's a fault line that runs from Boston through DC all the way to Texas. I'm just going to do a little quakey.
Time to shake things up a little bit.
Shake things up over there. And I'm going to make some, like, Aborigine country, the only people left on earth because they don't have any buildings. But I just was like, and then, you know what I love too? They had some jerk off guy from New York City. Now, God, this is how my brain works. I started thinking, imagine you're the guy and you're in charge of some kind of building code. You're in a little shitty office, all the gray chairs, that kind of office. All of a sudden there's an earthquake and you get a call from the mayor's office. Imagine this call. You got your coffee, probably reading the New York Post, checking out how the Knicks did last night. All of a sudden they're like, hey, do you feel that? Yeah, a little earthquake. Hey, listen, you got to go check out every building in New York City, make sure they're safe. Do you call your wife like, hey, honey, I'm going to be a little late. What are you doing? I got to check every, and then what are they really checking? Like, when's the guy walk up to a building like, all right, what do they do? Shut a few doors, open a window or two?
Like giving it like a squint eye view. Like, no, it's not crooked. We're good.
It's not moving. Man, we're all right. There's no way they could check every, like, I wouldn't even blink if, like, a month from now some building just falls to the right. Oh, the guy didn't really check it. Like, how do you know what's going on? It would take 7 million years to check out every foundation. Watch me, my condo will drop during the podcast. That'd be great.
I made a terrible joke. Obviously, I was getting texts from you, my family. Like, do you feel that? You feel that? I'm just like, and I'm at a convention at the Sheraton in Philadelphia, and I'm like, I didn't feel anything. And then I made a bad joke because, like, wrestling fans, I want to say, like, a nice handful of them are plus size people, So it's like they were walking by my table the entire morning, so I just figured it was them walking by. Yeah, I was like, everything okay? Is that guy over there okay? Like, nah.
You did a fat people joke. As the earthquake, people thought the end of the world.
Yeah.
Which leads us to maybe this is called like the geography. What kind of show is this? Earth show here, because the other day we also had oh, by the way, here's the funniest thing ever. Did you hear about the guy who was getting a vasectomy at the exact time of the earthquake? Did you hear about this?
No.
They had him on the news. Imagine you're getting your balls worked on. The guy was like 35 years old. He's got like 17 kids, right? They're doing the snippy snip on the quakey quake call. That means if you're like a free safety, you're creeping in on a blitz, not knowing.
So basically, he's in motion, and
he's in motion. Right? And they had the doctors actually pulled the scalpel up, waited for everything to rattle, and then continued on. If I was I guess you're not awake for that. But talk about like after the earthquake, I would have gone up to the doctor.
Wait, hey, so not only is he getting worked on, but he's knocked out.
I've never gotten a vasectomy,
which is even more wild, because once he wakes up and he's like comes to and he asks, "Hey doc, everything okay?" "Yeah, surgery went fine. By the way, we had an earthquake."
Yeah, by the way, yeah. Another thing, did the doctor want to talk it over? Maybe, I think that deserves a 30-second timeout. And the Knicks want to talk it over as John Smith's balls are hanging. And it's unbelievable to me. I read that. I was crying. I was like, that would be, what if he becomes like a young Wayne Bobbitt? I mean, all of a sudden,
oh, man.
Hey, by the way, the vasectomy went well, but there was an earthquake, so I cut your balls off. So them back on. It's like, oh my God, that would be so my luck. Anyway, I thought that was hysterical. That there was a surgery. They interviewed the guy. He's got like, first of all, the whole world knows he got a vasectomy.
Right. We're here now with the victim.
Yeah, my luck, it would be hemorrhoid surgery. Like, yeah, they were up my ass looking for hemorrhoids. Earthquake went on. It's like so embarrassing. But anyway, I thought that was very funny. But then we had earthquakes. We also have, and you were mocking this out a little bit online, the eclipse. Now, first of all, let me tell you how late I was on the eclipse bandwagon. I have a daughter. Nobody said anything to me. I knew it was happening, but whatever. So next thing you know, she's like, text me, "Dad, can you get the glasses?" I'm like, "Oh, all right." So I drive around. They said they were at some gas stations. Now, I thought the glasses were going to be the kind that like NASA uses, like these big glasses, like
Microsoft, the ones that look like or whatever.
Yeah, they look like out of a cereal box. I didn't know this. I was asleep at the wheel. I admit it. I went to every gas station, every place, CVS, Walgreens. No, we don't have them. So I pick up my daughter. My buddy says, after you pick up your daughter, bring them to my house. We got the glasses. But I see this high school kid with this piece of cardboard in his hand. It looked like something that was 9 cents. I thought I was going to blow $35 on a shitty mask. So I say to the guy, this kid, I go, "Hey, bro, mind me look at the glasses?" He's like, he looks at me, he goes, "Yeah, it's actually pretty cool." I'm like, "Oh, all right." So they're like an adult engaging with a high school kid, waiting for my daughter. My daughter will be out in a minute. I grabbed the glasses, and dude, I looked up with the glasses on. I was like, "Oh shit, this is cool as hell." I totally got to get. So we go to my buddy's house. We're on the front lawn. And by the time we get there, every minute you got the moon got more in front of the sun, obviously. And I was like,
"That's how it works, Jimmy."
Right. So that's how
meteorologist Jimmy Palumbo here.
He thinks in a way here. So I ended up, matter of fact, there was some funny memes that were out there. Did you see the one with the girl with the hot bathing suit on, and all of a sudden the big girl's ass gets in front of it? That's great. No, I didn't. I roared at that one. But anyway, so I get there, and my daughter's like, "Dad, I got to go to rehab for my knee. What are we doing? Why are we going here?" I'm like, "Nat, this is a big event. The whole world's talking about this. I got to at least do my parental duties to make sure." And I thought for sure my daughter was going to be like a typical teenage brat. Like, "Oh, whatever, Dad, it's no big deal." She put the glasses on. She was like, "Whoa, Dad, you got to see this." And put it on. And then we had 4 glasses and 9 people. So we were rotating like it was weed. Like, give me a hit of that. Give me a hit of that. And then finally, though, at one point, my daughter had him, and she's like, "Dad, I can't see anything." That's how we knew. But you had to really wait because it was a little cloudy, and you could just see a sliver of light. So my daughter will definitely remember that. Everybody on the front lawn watching it. It was definitely
I was the schmuck who threw on my sunglasses and thought that'll be fine.
No, if you look, you see nothing.
Oh my God, dude, my eyes literally hurt for like the rest of the day. And my wife is like, well, you kept looking at it with nothing on. And I was like, well, I just figured, if I just squint, it might be better.
Well, that's what I did a quick glance, and it turns out you can't see the eclipse at all. You got to have those weird pinhole Lucky Charms box glass. That's another, so somebody screwed up on this, because if I was like an entrepreneur, and especially in Bergen County here, those things were on. Look, they cost probably 0.05 cents to make, right? Wouldn't you think, like, if I was in business, like Chop Sports media glasses for the eclipse, $49.99, I would have had nice straps, color, pink ones for the girls.
No, it's like, no. So can I? It's like, oh yeah, I bought these for $50, but I can use them forever. And they'll come back and be like, well, the next eclipse are going to have a different kind of lens. Use the last one. You got to go over and get the new one.
You got the new ones, because every eclipse is. I can see the guys selling that. What about the guys selling them to the gas stations up and down Route 17 and Route 1? I got eclipse glass with you, 2 boxes, dude. Is that jerk off? That's the guy I want to talk. I would love to have that guy on my podcast next week. Anyway, so that was another earth-shattering thing. We had an earthquake and an eclipse all around the same time. And meanwhile, at the end of the day, I'm sad that Jerry Grody died, the Mets catcher from 69 and 73. First of all, I remember him as a kid. He was like a good defensive catcher, and he won the World Series. He was the catcher for the team that won it. You got to give him credit for that. But I was on a text thread where, like, I was getting way too much information on Jerry Grody. I was like, he wasn't at all. He wasn't Thurman. I was like, oh, myself a break here. But then I did learn that I wish I had a Jerry Grody card to open up the show. He was actually much better than I thought. I got to give him credit for that. So I figured, you know what? If I'm going to shout out a guy getting a vasectomy during the earthquake, I got to give a shout out to Jerry Grody. He was the starting catcher when the Mets won the World Series.
Yeah, so if you guys are out there and you were looking for the right time to get right with Jesus, now would be the time. Because, we got earthquakes and solar eclipses.
I know. What's next here?
Something's afoot. Something's afoot. Maybe get your mind right.
Maybe it'll be like, no, I want to have next week, earthquake, eclipse, and Jimmy Palumbo gets an additional Patreon customer. I think that is right
now
in
line. Now you're looking at something that
only
happens once every 30 years.
Yeah, I don't think God has a quake call on Jimmy Palumbo getting 41. But there's got to be someone out there that says, I never did that. Anyway, let's talk about our Knickerbockers. Obviously, Randall's out, and now the Knicks. Listen,
Brunson.
I love the fact that I can go to MSG channel now to watch something. And Brunson, I don't know. I feel like it goes like, I think Brunson's making a run at Ewing right now. This guy's dominating like, everybody talks about Kevin Durant. I think Brunson's playing as well as like Curry did when he was hot. Like, what is the guy going to do?
He got multiple 40-point games. The guy is a scorer, man.
When your point guard is awesome in basketball, to me, it's even better than a center or a forward being great. Because, like, he's the guy, they get a rebound, they give it to Brunson, he brings it up. Like, it's even more, he's just having a phenomenal season. And really, he's been great since the Knicks got him. Knicks are a 3rd seed right now, although I looked in the paper the other day. I'm like, wait a minute, Knicks lose 3 in a row. They're in the play-in games. Like, that's how close it got.
Very tight, yeah.
Now they moved ahead. So, but you know what's weird about the Knicks? I love it. I'm enjoying it. But, like, there's part of me that thinks the Knicks are going to be fun to watch in the playoffs. There's another part of me, I'm getting that, like, final score 91-84. Knicks drop. Like, I think the Knicks are I just have no faith in, like, the Knicks are going to pull it off in the playoffs. But I guess that's just me being beaten to death.
Yeah, it's Knicks PTSD, man. It's just like, it's what we're so accustomed to as Knicks fans. Right. So it's like we're waiting for the shooter. We already got the Randall news, right? Like, that's all. Right. Sucks,
maybe we can have a little magical run. Just get me. I remember when they played the Spurs years ago. I think it was 1999, maybe
99 2000. That was when Sprewell.
The Knicks weren't that good, and Sprewell and the other guy got hot. That power forward,
Charlie Ward, Allen Houston, those guys were rocking it over there.
Another guy though. There was another guy playing defense. He was key on the Knicks. Anyway, they made a run.
Marcus Camby.
Yeah, Camby got hot. And then, of course, we ran into – this is how stupid I was. I was like, we got the Spurs and no Bulls. Like, hey, we got this thing. Not knowing that there was like 7 Hall of Famers on that roster. And I think that Spurs team didn't lose a game for like 9 years after that. But I thought we were going to blow out the Spurs.
That was like Duncan, Robinson, Ginobili,
good.
Parker. Yeah.
Yeah, that was brutal.
What it was.
Knicks got smoked. But that was the time with I'm telling you. I tell my nephew, I brought this up on the show. You could NFL, baseball, Yankees, all that stuff. It's fine. When the Knicks are hot in New York City in the playoffs, I'm telling you, it's big. I don't know what it is. It's like the Knicks, as much as they've been awful. I was bartending in the city. There was like 200 people in the bar. Now again, before flat screens and all that stuff, I'll give you that. But like people, they wanted to go and meet chicks and watch the Knicks. Like that was a thing, and it was awesome to do that. I also want to talk a little bit about Caitlin Clark, finals, great player. I thought it was great. The thing that's annoying me is this, though. Oh, the women outdrew the men's final. Okay. Let's break this down a little bit. Let's do a little quake day here at Shea. Do you think there's a big difference 3:00 on a Sunday afternoon and 9:20 on a Monday night in terms of viewership? Because half the people I know were sound asleep by 9:45. And on a Sunday afternoon, you're watching a game. Let me just watch that white chick run around, hit some shots, blah, blah, blah. Forgetting that South Carolina hasn't lost a game in 2.5 years. So I don't think that equation of ratings and stuff like that. But I got to give Caitlin Clark credit. Look, she lit it up. South Carolina was better. They had a better team. But it was nice. I thought the South Carolina coach did a wonderful job after at that podium. She's like, hey, shout out to Caitlin Clark. You put eyeballs on our sport, which really at the end of the day, that's what makes you a legend. I also thought the coach of Iowa in the locker room, everybody was crying in there. She's like, hey, wait a minute. 2 years in a row, we made the finals. We inspired kids. Like, it's a good thing. The thing is, though, unfortunately, Caitlin Clark will disappear. When's the draft? She will. She's joining the Witness Protection Program, a.k.a. WNBA, because that'll do it here. If you think, now some people think she's going to be like the reason why the WNBA is popular. No. What's going to happen is she'll be on like the Detroit, whatever their name is, for $1,100 at the no, she'll make big money to play in front of 1,300 people.
It's not like you're doing this on. It's not like you're making fun of this on purpose. This is just in the facts at this point. You know,
it's just the facts.
It just hasn't happened. It hasn't resonated with anybody. Like there's one guy in child sports who continuously posts about the results of the Liberty, and I'm just like, buddy, I'm going to tell you right now. I'd rather read more Taylor Swift than Travis Kelce.
Okay.
And I was tapped out.
But you know what's funny though?
Like, what am I doing here?
I give that guy credit. Please let him keep doing that. Because after a while, it's like, you know what'll happen to you though? This is how bad a sports fan you are. If he does that for like 2 or 3 years, I can totally see you on a bad morning going, Liberty won by 12 last night. You know what I mean? You're like, so-and-so scored 24 last night against the LA. I don't even know the names of the teams. I know they're in like 9 cities, but yes, it was cool to watch. Now, in other sad news, UConn, look, when they argue what's the best NCAA team ever, UConn not only won the thing, they won it last year. They only lost 3 games, and they like destroyed. NCAA tournament is always that like up by 1, 6 seconds. No, there was no up by 1. They were up by 19. 30-0 run one game. They just absolutely destroyed everybody. The games weren't close. The Alabama game was close for a little bit, and then it really wasn't. They pulled away, and that's what I predicted would happen anyway. But what annoys the shit out of me, and I'm arguments with Rutgers fans on all the face. I didn't get kicked off yet, but I probably will. I don't understand Rutgers fans. This is how stupid Rutgers fans are, okay? Everybody's like, oh, my God, I'm so excited for Cam Spencer. What? If Dak Prescott left, Cowboys offered him $35 million to play quarterback next year. And Dak said, no, I'm going to go sign with the Giants for $36 million. And then the Giants are in the Super Bowl with Dak Prescott. Is Dave Sturcher going to be like, oh, my God, it's just so good to see Dak Prescott finally? No, you'll probably shut your internet off for a month and a half until it's all over, right? These Rutgers fans,
I watched like we had a legendary defensive end, DeMarcus Ware, skipped town and won a Super Bowl like the next year with the Broncos, and I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah. And these Rutgers fans like, no, Rutgers didn't have the money, and Cam made a great decision. I'm like, no, that's fine for him and his family. I get it. I would have taken, if I was Cam Spencer, I would have been like, Dad, UConn's offering me like $500,000 to play. I gotta go. And if I was the father, I'd say, okay, Cam, just remember though, every Rutgers fan's going to hate your guts. That's the trade-off. No, not Rutgers fans. We're like, no. We love getting shit on. I just enjoyed Cam. He was just a fine player. First of all, he was not near. He went on a team where five guys were awesome. On Rutgers, he was expected to be the man, and he wasn't. I watched a lot of Rutgers basketball games. Cam's a good player. On UConn, he's a great player. And I will be shocked if he is a great player in the NBA. I don't see it. But you know what? I think he's too short. I think he's too slow even. But he's got that Larry Bird thing. He knows how to pass. He's a good player. But I'm not rooting for him at UConn. I'm sorry. And Rutgers fans say, oh, Jimmy, why are you being so negative? Why are you being a hater? I don't hate the guy. He's probably a nice kid. I'd love to have a beer with him someday and say, hey, why'd you really leave? But the bottom line is, I'm not rooting for him. Sorry. And plus, anybody who roots for Hurley, have you seen his interviews? I mean, that guy's a cocky jerk. I don't care what anybody says.
Right here on the same network, so be careful what you say, but on the Chop Sports, we have a Midlife Crisis podcast in which he had Bob Hurley on. So we were here to talk to his dad. They're totally opposites. Like, they're not even close.
Yeah, his dad's a legendary coach at the high school level. Yeah, listen, I just, and I'm a Rutgers fan, and UConn still, they're our rival for recruits. That's why I was rooting for Purdue. I won the family pool by Purdue they say I tied it, but I don't know. There's rumors on that, but the ESPN thing has me on number one. So I'm tied with my mother, I tie with my mother in a family pool, except my nephew Tommy filled it all out. But I just don't understand Rutgers fans rooting for UConn. Now, also, Mike, I have a niece who's at UConn. It's their second year. So imagine that you go to UConn and your team wins it 2 years in a row. That's like dynasty right there. That's awesome. And they're going to be good next year. Now, Rutgers, of course, there's these online sites called Rutgers. Like, you can bet that Rutgers can win it. Like the whole thing. Because we got Bailey and Harper coming in. Like, what? Are you Rutgers fans? Are you, what are you doing? Anyway. That's it on that. Now, real quick on the Yankees, ladies and gentlemen, Giancarlo, clearly he's just carrying them right now. When Giancarlo Stanton gets hot, did you see the bomb he hit the other night? Bro, did you see that shot?
Did you see the line out that almost killed the bird?
Did you
missed that?
Yeah, did you see the frozen rope he hit the right field yesterday?
That's the one I'm talking about. If you slow that down, there's a bird that flies by that he almost
I didn't see that.
Fucking exploded. Oh yeah,
my God,
he almost killed that son of a.
Telling you right now, if Giancarlo Stanton bats 250 and doesn't get hurt, the Yankees will win that division by 10 games because he's at he bats fifth, he's out of the way, and you got to face Soto, Judge, Volpe, all these guys. The pitchers like, let me just strike out Stanton, and they throw a fastball and it's smoke, but. Stanton always gets hurt and ruins my joke. Like, Stanton, you can't get hurt because my podcast will suffer. If I ever met him, like, dude, don't get hurt. I can talk shit about you all week. He's still my favorite player. He has an 818 OPS. I don't know what that means. It's like, to me, that means like an Opie. It's like a Ron Howard. I don't know what it's like, doesn't make any sense to me. Which brings us to cornholelevel.com. Go to cornholelevel.com. Dave, I know you've been struggling, and especially you were at WrestleMania. This is a perfect example. You showed up at the studio this morning, and your cornhole was definitely bent out of shape. And all you need to do is hook one of these right on your cornhole, and there you go. You would have been all ready to. Here comes the water jug. Jesus Christ. That alone, you should be sponsored by Poland Springs. You probably got the water out of the faucet and kept the thing. But go to cornholelevel.com. You just hook this little thing.
What am I? Is a poverty thing to say?
I don't know. Hey, what do I tell you? You hook this thing on your cornhole board, and that'll do it here. It organizes your cornhole board so it's level, and you're ready to go for your friends and family at a BBQ. And so check it out, cornholelevel.com. Mike Caprio re-signing with the Jimmy Palumbo Show, cornholelevel.com. 20% off if you enter JP Show. And that would be Chris Gucci. What's up, brother? Chris Gucci making.
He lives.
He's
alive.
Chris Gucci. He's alive.
I wonder if I wonder how Chris Gucci feels about the fact that the Packers and the Eagles are opening their season in Brazil. You see about that?
No, really?
I was planning on.
Yeah, so Thursday night they're doing the normal kickoff, and then Friday they're having the Packers and the Eagles open up the NFL season in Brazil for whatever fucking reason.
Packers are the most popular team in Brazil. So.
Oh, well, yeah, that'll do it.
Pacadores.
The Pacadores. Actually, they're going to air it, Jimmy, on Channel 41.
It's going to be on Channel 41 from Univision. Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, my, that's so funny. Yeah, Brazil. Oh, that's awful. I'm so good. The Giants, sometimes they do that. England's okay. You start getting involved with other countries, you get a rash.
That's what the National Football League needs. Try and expand to all the countries. In
World League. There used to be a WFL. World Football League here, Shea. Which brings us to a segment we do here where I go over one of my credits.
Jimmy's credits.
Sponsored Jimmy's Credits Day here at the Shea. And Dave, you chose one just about a couple hours before the telecast here. The barometer is steady. We're going to get this one in. One of my favorite lines ever by an announcer. He was actually describing like the weather, and he just went, "Here we are live. The barometer is steady. We're going to get this one in." Which, like, who driving in the? I was driving in the car. I was ready to drive. What a great way to describe that. The weather's going to hold up. The barometer is steady.
The barometer.
Oh my God, that's so funny to me. I've used that line like if at DJs, a guy's flirting with a girl and it looks like he has a shot. I'm like, "Hey, look, the barometer is steady. You might get this one in." Nobody gets that. I'm convinced only 11 people get my jokes, and if they're not listening to the podcast, it just goes. I did a stand-up show on Saturday, which I'll talk about in a second, and I said a joke, and I was like, "Jimmy, you can't say that in the public. There's nobody here. Venditti's not in the audience. Dave's not here, and people like the oil painting look I get, but that's what it is." However, our credit for today, Jimmy's credit is Orange is the New Black. Season 2, episode 5. This is a classic credit where, because it's streaming, I get, "Hey, dude, so on Orange is the New Black." It was directed by Brat Pack guy Andrew McCarthy. Did you know that, Dave? Remember Andrew McCarthy?
Did not know that.
Okay, he directed it, and I did not meet Taylor Schilling, and she just rains threes. She's got deep speed. She was a wide receiver at Alabama for 5 years. And the casting director was Jennifer Houston. And my scene was with, Alicia Rayner, who actually met at a few other things, and Joe Caputo, an actor. And he played the warden of the whole prison. And to me, this whole thing is funny for like 5 reasons. The first one is I had the showers overflowed with shit at the prison. And the women were complaining that the shit was rolling all over their feet. So I played Jeremy the plumber. I show up. Now, this thing is in a fake, the whole set seemed like it was fake, but it was real. So I show up, and there's a guy, a prop guy. He's like, "Hey, Jimmy, I want to show you the fake shit that I made here for you." And he made this perfect fake shit that would go through a sewer, right? But even though it smelled like plastic, no smell at all. He had a Home Depot bucket. He clearly just went to Home Depot. He's mixing the shit. Now, there's something when someone tells you it's shit, you feel like it's shit. All it was brown, like plaster of Paris, water, with concrete mix. And I still I was afraid to touch it because it was like, oh, that's your brain says that's shit because the guy said it was shit. So I'm sitting there, and then the first take, I was like gingerly putting the plunger down in the drain to get the shit out, and I wasn't getting my hands dirty. I think Andrew McCarthy was like, "Hey, Jimmy, you gotta act like it's shit." I'm like, "Well, it's not shit." I actually had to perform. So I'm doing that, and of course, even the cast was like, "Oh my God, is that gross?" I'm like, "No, it smells like I'm at a construction site with my father in 1989." So messing around with the shit, but the guy kept on coming over. "Jimmy, a little more, a little less water, a little more." He was so into the consistency. I felt like saying, where did you get your training for that? Did you like stare at your own shit all week? Like, how do you know the consistency of shit going through half a plumbing system and coming out?
Hey,
It was great. I laughed with that guy. And but the crazy thing about that booking was so there was no one to talk to. Everybody's running all over. I was just by myself, and I remember I had a bag over my shoulder, and I was reading a book. I wish I remember the name of the book. And I was reading a book, and then I was in one room sitting down, and then I ended up near this this big the shower scene where I just previously fixed the shit. And I didn't realize that I was standing near the door, the outside of it. And some lady comes over, is like, all right, we're doing the shower scenes, you know, we're doing like the nude scenes. And I didn't realize that I was standing in front of the shower door, which led to the area where the, you know, and when they shoot naked women on sets, they really, I think years ago, they just had people, guys smoking a cigarette with a mustache, checking out a girl naked. But now they really, and rightfully so, they really, only the director and maybe the camera, like nobody sees anything now. You know, they really do a good job, and they should. And so nobody knew who I was really. So I just kept on moving around, like moving out of the way. This lady was like bitching and moaning. All the extras like, gotta get out of the way, move over here. And so I kept on moving, but I actually started moving closer to where they were filming. So like, I thought I was like clean, like just I'm moving out of the way. Meanwhile, I was moving closer to where there was going to be like naked cast members, right? So I'm moving along. And finally, the lady goes, sir, you got to move. I'm like, all right. So I moved like 10 feet the other way, you know. And next thing you know, she comes over to me like, hey, what are you doing? What is your problem? I'm like, I don't know where to go. She's like, well, you're practically in the scene. There's going to be naked people. And I was like, no. I'm playing Jeremy the plumber. It was such a, I felt like such a loser. I'm like, I don't want to see these people. And by the way, I mean, listen, see, I got to watch what I say now. I'm going to get in trouble right away. I mean, if Taylor Schilling was involved in the shower scene, you know, maybe I would want to talk it over. But I was like, I didn't want to see anybody. Yeah. So, but she really thought I was trying to like mooch into it. I was like, no, tell me where to go. I'm an actor. You tell me to go outside. I don't care. I don't want to see this. And so she finally did that. And then we did the scene, which was a funny scene to shoot. And it's weird. That show is a real popular show. People are just watching it even now. Some of those streaming shows, and I do the same thing. You're late to the dance. It's 8 years later, and someone says, oh, you know, Orange is the New Black. And then people watch it. I hear people come up to me all the time. Say, oh, Jimmy, I finally saw you on Orange is the New Black. And I'm like, that would be like someone saying, like, oh, Jimmy, I finally watched the 86 Giants win the Super Bowl. Like, it's so old to me. But streaming does. Yeah, Lawrence Taylor was a pretty good player, wasn't he? But it was fun to do. It was a great booking. And I still get residual checks for it. So that's one of the residual situation there. But it was certainly a very cool. And that was one of those shows like Miss Maisel, Entourage, Curb, Orange is the New Black, where I know people that book these bigger network shows and like nobody cares, but more people watch. I got lucky. That was in my run of, I booked shows that other actors thought was a cool show to book. You know what I mean? I wish I was a regular on it. I wish I was playing Joe Caputo's part, which I probably read for and hit a chopper to third, felt cleanly, fired across Atlanta. But certainly a cool booking. And people still watch it today. And that's it. Orange is the New Black. And it's a good show. Although I think I stopped watching. I watched the last 3 episodes just to catch up. But the first 3 episodes are really solid, really well acted and creepy. And which makes, everything go that way. So that's it. That's my Orange is the New Black story. Of course, your friend and mine, Absolute Eyewear, is on 42 Main Street, Woodbridge, New Jersey, 732-326-3937. Craig and Jolene Michaud, they're opticians. Go check them out. They get all kinds of glasses there. They're full service. And I haven't done this in a while. You know, I got a text from someone said, what happened to Bob Shepard? And I realize your attention, please. Glasses available at Absolute Eyewear. Ray-Ban, Coach, Ralph Lauren. Dave Sturchio's Jimmy Choo. Silhouette, Michael Kors Light, Vogue, Maui Jim, Costa Del Mar, and Charles Oakley's kids hang out there all the time. It makes no sense. They do carry Oakley for kids because everybody wants to go spend $300 on a kid's sunglasses here at Shea. They do not have. Sure. I wonder if they sold Eclipse glasses. I got to ask Jay Bird about that. $100 off a complete pair. If you mention Dave, me, the show, Chop Sports, the Knicks, Giancarlo Stanton, any reference to my show, if you say, you know what, you get $125 a pair if you mention Steve Venditti when you walk in there. That to me is the ultimate.
Oh my God, bro! I was literally just gonna say that. Like, can you mention Venditti?
If you mention Venditti, a matter of fact, I'm going to tell Janine, if someone mentions Venditti, just give them the fucking pair for free. That's like a major thing right there. No, that's not true. That's their business. They've been in business for about 19 years now, and they're open 5 days a week. They're closed on Wednesdays. Why, Dave?
Because they're too busy playing softball.
And they're closed on Sundays. Why?
Well, that's normal. I mean, the Giants during the fall, but you know who's never there? Janine.
Yeah, Johnine has been MIA, though. You know what? We're not even sure. You know what, Jay Bird? If you listen to this, text me. Is Johnine even work there anymore? She hasn't worked there anymore. She hasn't worked on my glasses in like 2 years. Why is she? Or is she fake it like she does the work and makes Craig deliver it? But no, busting balls. They still own the place. Rawway's finest over there. But they're in Woodbridge on Main Street, down by the train station. They have a big St. Patty's Day party. Great for the kids, the family. Everybody's there, Chip. All right. Real quick, couple of things. The show won't be that long, I promise you. May 11th, I am running that 5K. Now, there's a bunch of 5Ks in the area. Rumor has it I may run a secret 5K that no one knows about, just to see. Now, did I tell you I walked the 5K last week? Did you know about this? Did I mention it last week?
Mm-mm.
So I walked it.
No.
Okay. Took me 60 minutes to walk it. So right away, I'm like, all right, by walking it took me 60 minutes. How am I going to shave that? I have to walk twice as fast to finish under 31 minutes. I was breathing heavy. I was like a ruddy pig even when I walked it. So I don't know. I'm worried about my ankle, but I am going to give it a shot under 31 minutes. But I may do a secret one. So because I know Kyle wants to maybe put some odds on this. So I have to run a secret one. I'll tell only Kyle because he gets exclusive information. Whether Jimmy can finish under 31, no one in the world thinks I can. Even Al Michaels, I called him up. He's like, "No, I don't believe in miracles." I'm going to give it a shot. So I'll be doing that. Also, there's a show on Netflix right now. It's streaming. It's called Moses. And God, my sister and brother are going to laugh at this. I'm used to the biblical movies. They do the British accents. Rome, we will go to the city, we will destroy it, right? This sounds like you're in Edison. The voice is like, "Hey, Moses, what's going on? You're going to go talk to Pharaoh over there?" The voices don't match the pomp and circumstance of a biblical figure. It's like even the actors are like, hey, Aaron, I got to take the rod. We got to go over there with this. You got the snakes? All right, you got to do the snake thing. It's like,
have you tasted this wine? Have you tasted this wine?
It's so, I know it's, they also have real historians talking about Moses and stuff. So it works in that way, but the acting, I'm not saying the acting, it's just that there's that British accent, like, "We will go and destroy, we will take the Nile." There's none of that. It's like, "Yeah, we're going to make the Nile. Look at the Nile. Got blood all over the place. Look at that. It turned the water." It doesn't work at all. And I think the makeup so much. It's like, this show is somebody was high as a kite and said, so I think someone watched a documentary on Moses. Then they watched 10 Commandments while they were high as a kite on Thanksgiving weekend or Easter weekend. And they were like, "Dude, why don't we combine the documentary with the 10 Commandments, man?" Like the beards, like the Charlton Heston beards were so great. Anyway, it's just, I don't know this, but yet I'm watching it, learning about Moses. Also, I wanted to ask you now, you were at WrestleMania, and I got to be honest with you. First of all, very cool for your career and all the shit you do in wrestling. It's very cool. I'm glad for you. But I got to be so many people. I don't know if I took a test on WrestleMania, unless one of the answers was Chief Jay Strongbow. I don't know if I would get. I know nothing Father Paul, my parish priest over here, he was into it. I can't believe Dave is there. Like he was at the Super Bowl.
He shot me a text while I was in my seat. And then he did a very nice thing. He took a picture of the commentary team, sent it to me, and said, "One day this will be you." And I was like, "Well, you're a lipstick." Well, I guess that makes sense. God's ears. Say a prayer
I know,
but
I don't nothing. The whole thing to me, I don't get. But I will acknowledge, because I knew it when I worked at the Scott Farrell show on Sirius. I know it's big worldwide business, and I'm not one of those guys like, oh, I hate wrestling, I hate soccer. Yeah, I hate wrestling and I hate soccer, but I acknowledge that the world is watching that. 4 days in Philly. How did it go down there?
No, it was great, man. I met and networked a lot of people. I actually booked 2 more people for my show in July, which kind of works out nice. Yeah, it was like the who's who was down there. You feel important. You feel more important than you do on a normal day. People are coming up to be like, "I love the show," and I'm just like, "Damn, you actually watch the show? Like, this is great," So
right.
it was a really nice weekend. We did some exclusive coverage. They had something called the WWE World down there, where it was a lot of fun. They gave us press passes for that, so we were able to record a bunch of content from within the WWE World. The World actually had like all the old sets and the designs, and you were able to kind of like go explore that and take some pictures and videos to help out with Premier Wrestling's My Fandom, which is the new app that I own. So it was a lot of fun, a lot of content, a lot of cool people down there. No bullshit. It wasn't just wrestling fans are not drama queens.
So anybody who, in other words, not only were the wrestlers there and the shit you do and all that stuff, but anybody who's anybody in the wrestling world that sells things. So is it almost like a convention for all things? In other words, if you make wrestling hats that say Chief J Strongbow on it, you're there, right? So it's almost like a convention as well as WrestleMania. And the event was Sunday night, or was it Saturday night? What was the big match?
It was both now. So the WWE they're not stupid. They capitalize now. Then they do WrestleMania Night 1 and WrestleMania Night 2. So they're actually Saturday and Sunday. The convention itself was Friday, Saturday, Sunday during the day, and then at night was WrestleMania. So everybody's down there, like you just said, making hats. There was 2 tables set up of guys that make custom lucha masks. You know what I mean? Like they make them all there, so like they do it on the spot. It's like the who's who down there, man. It was very cool.
You might not even have been born yet, and I know you probably weren't. One of the WrestleManias, I'm going to guess it was either 2 or 3, very early on. My buddy Gary Ruane and Mike Ruane, he had a party in his basement. This is when you had to pay $70 for it on pay-per-view. And now, again, I didn't know anything. Who's that big giant guy that used to wrestle? He died. I did a documentary on him.
Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant. And Hulkster was there. And we had a party in his basement. And there must have been like 80 guys in a basement that 20 were comfortable. And we all watched. And I remember just watching the spectacle of it. I had no idea what was going on. But it was like, wow. I remember going like, wow, people are really... and full discussions, and it was that looks like watching Babe Ruth and black and white compared to what it is now. But it's a huge thing, very cool. I'm glad you made contacts. Hope this thing. By the way, for those who don't know, Dave's doing a huge thing in July at the in Point Pleasant, not at the Tiki Bar. It's not the Tiki Bar involved with it, or is it? It's Tiki Bar on the outdoor. There's going to be outside under the tent, and there's going to be wrestlers.
No. Like we're putting the fucking ring on the beach.
Yeah,
at Tiki Bar downstairs. Yeah. So it's like,
it's going to be a very cool thing. I'm going to be in Atlantic City at my daughter's dance competition, but I will be trekking up.
You know what's funny? So wait. So before we finish up, that weekend prior, you're in Atlantic City?
No, the week. Your thing's on a Thursday?
No, my thing's on a Tuesday, but I believe you said something about being in Atlantic City the weekend prior.
No, I think I'm going to be in Atlantic City on that Tuesday that week, Monday to Friday or something like that.
Oh, why? Okay. What's going on? If you were going to be in Atlantic City on that weekend prior, it's 90s Wrestling Con is going to be down at what used to be the Sears Pier. It's going to be a massive convention down that previous weekend, and we're going to, like, that's the final push for tickets, but that's going to be incredible. So like that's being done by my buddy Tommy Fierro.
What's the date of your thing?
Of ISPW. Tommy Fierro is the one who books your boy Ryan.
What's the date of your thing?
July 16th.
July 16th day here at Shea. Hang on one second. We're going to go live to find out if Jimmy Palumbo will be involved here, and then we're going to go off the air because I know you got to go. July 16th day here at Shea. Let's see. When will Jimmy Palumbo be at 90s? What the hell is it called? Comic-Con? Whatever the hell. Let's see. In July, I will be in Atlantic City from Saturday, July 13th until Saturday, July 20th. So I will be in Atlantic City. I'll actually be staying in Brigantine. So I'll definitely meet up with you there for sure. I will be getting involved from the Omni. All right, well, listen, I know you got to run.
Freaked out, Jimmy. You're going to be so freaked out when you see the fans in cosplay and shit. You're going to be out of your mind.
Right. Well, you have to pay to go inside, like $40 and that kind of thing.
I don't know. I'll get you in. Don't worry about it. I know.
I can't get press passes from the. Anyway. All right. Good show here. Good seeing you. Glad you had a good weekend. No earthquakes this week. And now next week we'll talk off the air. We got to move things around. And next week our guest is going to be Mike Marino, comedian Mike Marino, Jersey's finest. Will be on the show next week. And we will, and last time he was on, he actually got his doctor's report while we were live on the air. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah, and I was like, what if he gets like, Mike, it's cancer, you'll be dead in 2 months. Live on the Jimmy Palumbo Show, breaking news. He got good news. I only look for people that do have their doctors. Maybe that should be my podcast. But when you go to the doctor, you come on my show and you read like, ooh, that's a little high. And I'll do it like an announcer. Oh, check out the hemoglobin there. And a high A1C once they're talking over. Not sure. Cholesterol at 225. I just want to be an announcer for everyday life. Sort of walk around a diner with a ABC sports jacket on with a microphone and just go, ooh, fat bastard, they're getting the pancakes with the sausage. His wife said, go with the egg whites and mushrooms. But he decided to go for the sausage and pancakes. This fat fuck will be dead in 2 years. We'll be right back. All right, good night, everybody. I'll talk to you later.
Where have you come from? Where have you gone?